Hey guys, it's Luca. Today I wanted to make another video. I want to just talk about like my situation in terms of like where I live and how I make a living and all this. Most people probably won't care at all to watch this video, but I figure it's the internet and sometimes I like watching these videos of very specific things that people are doing that I'm interested in. So who knows, maybe there will be a handful of people that are interested in this. But basically, I decided to move to Colombia. I decided to live in a different country almost entirely because it's cheaper. There are also other things I like about Colombia. But this idea of, okay, can I go live somewhere else where it's cheaper and then do work online? Is that like a viable option? So, yeah, basically, I'll talk about that in the video, in this video. So, coming here, things are considerably cheaper. I lived in Rochester. I moved to Texas briefly because again it was cheaper. But in Rochester, I think my rent was like 1,000 a month or something. Not very nice. It's probably like pretty much the cheapest I could find if I was gonna live by myself in a decent area. And then here my rent is 200 a month, and considerably nicer apartment, nice location, like definitely nicer than any of the apartments I've lived in the U.S. Um, and I'm paying 200 a month. And if I really wanted to, I could definitely find places here for like 100 bucks a month. Both like if I lived in a different city, because I live in Bogota, which is like the most expensive city in Colombia, and also if I lived in, if I had like roommates, or I'm also living in an Airbnb, so I'm paying like a premium for that. But I think I would recommend living in an Airbnb if someone wanted to do the same thing, just because you don't have to furnish your apartment, you don't have to buy anything in terms of like, I don't know, silverware or any of the things you would have to get for an apartment. Everything's already there for you. I don't have to pay my electricity. I don't have to pay internet. I don't have to pay for the cleaning. There's a lot of like really nice benefits also of being in an Airbnb. So I guess I'll talk about why why would someone maybe be willing to do this? I think you'd have to be the type of person that doesn't have like strong roots in the US. And I'm kind of addressing this to people in the US, I guess. Probably most people watching this video will be people in the US. So you obviously can't have like a family. Maybe you could, but you can't have like kids, you can't have a pet, probably. Um, you'd have to leave your friends behind, your family. So if you've got like, if there are people that you're really close to and you really want to see all the time, you obviously can't do something like this. Also, you're coming to a new place where you don't know the language. So you have to be willing to do that. Come to a place maybe where you don't speak the language so well, but truth be told, I think at this point in my life, I think if you're in your 20s or your 30s, like going to a new place, learning a new language, learning a new culture, seeing what some other side of the world looks like is just so beneficial. I think in the long run, it'll benefit you a lot. It'll just be so incredibly valuable. So, yeah, you have to have that kind of freedom, and then you have to be able to make a living. Obviously, maybe you already have a lot of money saved up, or you can do this something like I'm doing now. So I'm tutoring math online, uh, and I'll talk more about the logistics of that, like how that works and what I found works for me. Um, but yeah, so you have to not have super strong ties to the U.S. I guess. Willing to kind of go somewhere new and kind of almost start over in terms of just like learning all over again, a lot of stuff. Um, but yeah, let me talk about some of the mechanics of like how this works. So when you come to Colombia as a U.S. citizen, and obviously it doesn't have to be Colombia. Like there are a lot of other places you can go. You could go to other places in South America. I've heard good things about Peru. You could probably go to, I don't know, some place like Argentina. You could probably go to Brazil, Mexico, Panama. Like Obviously, like different countries will have different price levels. If the idea is to go and save money, I think a place like Mexico would be more expensive than a place like, say, Peru, right? Um, and you'll have to decide like what you want specifically. Also, there are probably places in Asia, probably I don't know, India, Thailand, Philippines. I really have no idea. Some people even say Africa is a place you can go. So I think there's just so many options if this is the type of lifestyle that you're willing to pursue. And so coming to a place like Colombia, as soon as you land, you have 3 months to stay here. You have like a tourist visa for 3 months. You can extend it to 6 months pretty easily. And then what a lot of people do is after the 6 months, they just go to another place for 6 months. You obviously have to look at the rules of like what are the rules of each country, but you could just do that. Or if you I really like it here in Colombia. I don't want to go to a new country, so I'm applying for a digital nomad visa. So that's more expensive because then you have to pay for all the logistics of getting the visa, like help from lawyers or whatever, and then you also have to get international health insurance, which I think is like $1,500 a year or something, in order to apply for that kind of visa. Um, so it's more expensive if you just want to stay at one spot as opposed to hopping around. But if you appreciate that stability, which I would, because now I have friends here, I feel comfortable here. I don't want to start over again, but I definitely could if I had to, if I get denied for this application. But that's basically how it works. You you can literally land in a new country and stay there for 3 months, and then you can go to another country, stay there for 3 months, and then another country, and keep doing this. Um, and yeah, I think I didn't even know that was possible, until I started trying this stuff. And I think a lot of people don't realize it is possible. So and I think a lot of countries are kind of aware of the fact that there's a visa called a digital nomad, which is designed for people that kind of like wander around and do work online. Speaks to the fact that maybe this is becoming more popular, and countries want to attract people like that to their country. I think a country like Colombia would like to have more digital nomads coming in, spending their money here and, and living here and stuff. Uh, so that's kind of like one half of it, of like what are the logistics of like how do you go to another country and live in another country like that. Um, then it's like, okay, how do you do the tutoring thing? So I think nowadays there's just so many ways to make money online. Like Fiverr. Fiverr's a big one, right? Um, Upwork. Upwork's another one. There's just Craigslist is what I do. Maybe I'll show like what I'm doing on Craigslist, but there's just so many different marketplaces online. I used to work for Wisent before I got banned from Wisent. Um, right? There's so many marketplaces online. eBay is another one, right? Like I buy and sell stuff on eBay. I think it's almost easier nowadays if you're kind of like entrepreneurial, um, to find work that's like through an online marketplace as opposed to something that's in person. This is kind of how the world is set up nowadays, which is why I think this idea of being like a digital nomad is getting easier and easier. And so I think if you grow up in the U.S., you almost definitely have some kind of skill that you can sell for, I don't know, $20 an hour, $50 an hour, $100 an hour. Who knows? It depends on what kind of skill you have and like how well you can market it and sell it. But I think almost everyone should have some kind of skill that they can sell, even if it's something as simple as like teaching people English or teaching people like math is what I do. Um, I don't know. Maybe you're a good artist. You can teach people art. Maybe you know a lot about fitness. You could be like an online personal trainer. Like I have no idea. Or maybe you could be a Twitch streamer, or maybe you could start a YouTube channel where you talk about literally anything. I think there's a lot of ways to just plug into this like online world and just make money that way. And then if you're living in a country like Colombia, where my rent's $200 a month, and I can eat a good meal for $3, $4, and just everything's super cheap. Like you don't even need to make that much money to survive. Like I could easily live here for $400 a month. So, and it's probably even cheaper. Like if I lived in a smaller city, like outside Bogota, or if I lived in another country where it's even cheaper, right? So, yeah, so that's kind of like the general idea, right? Have some kind of skill you can sell online, um, and yeah, so I'll talk about like what I do personally, what has worked for me. So for me, math tutoring is something I've been doing my whole life. I've always loved it. I think one of the good signals that I've noticed, and like when you don't know what to do, is like what is something you're willing to do for free. So I started doing math tutoring for free. So it's obviously something that I enjoy doing. If I was willing to do it for free at some point. Um, and I've been doing it for so long. I've been doing it now for I think 11 years. Um, so also like having all that experience makes it a great thing for me to do to make money. And at that point, it's like, okay, well, how do you market yourself? I think one of the things that made a big difference for me was making a good website. So this is my website, rockmathtutor.com. I basically just ripped it off some other website. I'm like, hey, I went on Fiverr. I paid a guy like $150 or $200 to build this, and I was like, hey, can you just copy this other math tutoring website? Having this website only only costs like $200 to build something like this, and if you know how to build it yourself, obviously then it's free because you can just build it yourself. Um, it just makes you look way more legitimate. People trust you. People can come check out your website. Okay, this is like someone who's just serious, even though it's kind of BS, right? I just paid someone $200 to build it, but people think you're serious. So that I think that's a big part of it. And then really the only thing after that, I guess, is having like reviews. So trying to get as many reviews as possible. Um, let's see if I can find it. So this is my website on Google. So that's another thing that it took me a while to realize this is like you should get as many reviews as possible because if you're in the service business, like those reviews are just gonna help you so much because people are gonna look through and be like, oh, he's got 8 5-star ratings. Everyone's saying really good things about Luca. He must be a real person, and it's just that much more likely that he, um, is gonna help my child, or he's gonna be able to help me in math. So I'd say website, get as many reviews as possible, and then you got to figure out a way to market. Like, how are people going to find out about you? Word of mouth is not enough, I don't think. I think you want to have some kind of consistent way to get new people. I've tried Google Ads, it hasn't worked that well. I've tried SEO. SEO is also hasn't worked that well. In terms of like, if someone looks up Rochester Math Tutor, I'm gonna be like, I don't know, am I under the sponsor? No, so I'm actually rank 1 for someone looking for Rochester Math Tutor. Let's see if I do like Math Tutor in Rochester. And obviously this could change depending on like where someone does this. Okay, so for Math Tutor in Rochester, I'm not. I'm like number 9. So SEO is for those who don't know, is like how high you rank in search rankings. So, but the problem with this is only like local traffic because I'm not ranking for like Math Tutor like in the United States, right? So this is only for people who are searching nearby in Rochester. So that hasn't been so great for me. So what has really worked for me? I've finally found like a consistent way to find new clients is with Craigslist. So the way that Craigslist works, basically now, it used to be like free to post on Craigslist, but now on Craigslist, if you want to post an ad for certain topics, I'll call them. For example, if you're a math tutor or any kind of tutor, maybe you tutor piano lessons or you tutor Spanish or whatever, you have to pay $5 to make a posting. So now that it's not free, it's not like super spammed, right? Because when it was free, there'd be a million posts, everyone is posting their thing. But now that you have to pay $5, there's less people posting. So people are more likely to see your ad. So what I do is I think the way I have it now is like every week I'll post like 30 of these, maybe every 10 days, something like that. And this is my plan for now. I may hopefully not have to do this every week, but basically this is what my ad looks like. In the title, you want to have all the important keywords, because when people look for like SAT tutor, if you have SAT tutor in the title, you'll show up. And then I like to have my testimonials here and pictures. And then it just talks about me. Blah, blah, blah. My rate, my website, my number. And this has really worked for me. And basically, as long as, like, for example, a week ago I posted 30 of these, so I paid $150, and then I've gotten at least $300 worth of revenue from those ads, and that's not counting all the future revenue I'm going to get from those clients, right? So if I had to estimate how much revenue I'll get from that $150, I'll probably get like $500 worth of revenue or whatever, right? And then you're going to get word of mouth from those people, and eventually, hopefully, you don't have to do this at all. But having some kind of system, and for me, Craigslist has been the thing that's really worked for me. Other people may find other systems, but yeah, that's the main idea: is to have something that works for you, that you can find clients. And so I can charge people $40 an hour tutoring, and I can live in a country like Colombia. So with 5 hours, I can pay my month's rent, which is kind of the clickbaity title of my video. And yeah, maybe there's someone else out there, unlikely, that is a tutor or has some kind of online work and wants to go live in another country and live this kind of lifestyle. I'm really happy with it. I don't feel any like super strong ties to the U.S. I guess I feel grateful for growing up in the U.S. and there's a lot of things I love about the U.S. But I don't really feel so tied to it, and especially like if it starts to go if the country starts to go in a direction that I don't like I don't want to feel like I'm tied to that country necessarily. Um, if there's better opportunities in other countries for me, if I feel more comfortable, if I'm having more fun in another, living in another country, why should I stay in the U.S. is kind of the way I think of it. So yeah, that's it for this video. Really, the best case of this video would be if there was someone else who was thinking about doing something like this and they were able to pick up some ideas. Either, a math tutor, maybe the Craigslist thing will help you market your math tutoring better, or maybe you got some ideas of like how to build a website, or maybe you're someone who's thinking of being a digital nomad, and I gave you a few ideas on how to do that, or helped you helped you think about that a little bit more. Yeah, so I'm Luca. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you guys in another video. Bye.